just want to welcome, everyone that's listening and has tuned into the show. My name is Nasipi Zwane, and it's another episode of Sludge Underground. And my guest today is probably one of the biggest guests we've had, on the show, and it's an honor and a privilege. And he is very, he's multi-talented. He's a singer, he's a pianist, he's an actor, he's a presenter, he's an MC, he's an entertainer, he's a performer. The list goes on and on and on and on. And I'm basically going to introduce him. It is Bongi Archi. So give me some insight in terms of, Bongi Mthombeni. Where is Bongi Mthombeni from? Where did this passion and love for, performing and arts and stuff, where did that sort of come from?
Hey, bro. Just wanted to say hey to the listeners and anyone who's tuned in. Where do I start? First of all, compliments for the new season. Lots of love to everyone. Bongi, man. Sure, this guy has been following his dream and chasing his passion ever since he was born. Grew up in church. Mom always took me and my siblings to church, but I was the one that was focused and being dragged to church because, mothers know best. Little did I know that today I'd look back and be like, thanks, Mom, for taking me to church, for introducing me, to God, for introducing me to, to music, for introducing me to entertainment and these talents that I have. So Bong is a boy that grew up in the township called Tembisa in Joburg, South Africa. Very lovely township. Made a lot of friends, played a lot, did a lot of things when I was young. I was very involved in the Sunday school growing up, primary school. I got involved in the school choir and then ended up singing in the school choir as in terms of leading all the school songs during assembly. I started playing the piano from watching my brother at church. And then I'd always ask him to bring the piano home so I can try and imitate what he was doing because my eyes were always looking at him, how he did it. And for some reason, I grabbed it and, I rehearsed it. And then that's how I started playing the piano for the school during assemblies in Nobel Primary. And then as years went by, I went to Primrose High School in Germiston, and that's where me and a friend of mine, Ulunga, started a choir and a group there, and as well as my mom lost her job when I was approaching matric, and then I luckily, I'm a people's person. One of my teachers, my technical drawing teacher, had a store at the Rand Easter show, and he actually said, "Bongi, do you want a job?" And I said, "Yes, I do want a job." So from there, things started happening where there was a store, a Yamaha store in the corner, and I always went there to play during my breaks. And my manager would always be angry until one day we filled up that Yamaha stand, and people came to watch and they listened. And the Yamaha owner wanted to start a new band called Little New South Africa. And as we started a Little New South Africa band, that's where I grew, and I joined a band called Lemongrass. And then we had a very rock band that played all over South Africa. And then after that, during that year, I think 2010, I went for Idols. And this was the funniest thing. The lead singer of that band said, "Bongi, let's go for Idols." Like, no. And we spoke about this the night before, and we actually packed our bags and went and camped there at the Extension Convention Center throughout the night. It started raining. But then that was my journey through Idols, made it to top 8. And then after that, things started happening. I did my first pantomime at the Joburg Theater. And then, I traveled the world. I've worked at Disney Cruise Lines, worked at Disney, been in the States quite a lot of times, performing and doing a lot of events. So I'm grateful for everything that I've achieved in life, and I never gave up on life itself. So it's been a great journey. It still is of growth and mastering my my craft.
Yeah, that is a very beautiful journey, man, and it's really inspiring as well. I mean, the fact that various people played, a role. Like, you mentioned your mom in there, with her taking you to church. You mentioned, Lemongrass, the band. You mentioned, going to Idols. You mentioned, obviously, going and heading out to the cruise lines and whatnot. Just taking it back to the roots, man, and the fact that, your mom was like, hey, let's go to church. And then you got very much involved in that there. How much would you actually, how much credits would you say goes towards, the whole, being brought up in sort of like a church-based home where, you're going to church, maybe Sunday, you're part of the Sunday school, you're part of the choir there at church and stuff, how big of a role did that actually play, in you actually becoming, Bongi Archi, the artist that we see now?
Look, that role plays a lot of it, it opens up doors if you understand the role that you're playing and the position that you're in. Because church itself, growing up from Sunday school, then becoming the church pianist, like I was a piano player for the church, then growing up becoming the church worship leader, then becoming the international church music director in terms of when we do festivals and do conventions. It goes a long way because you understand what you're doing. I mean, it's a very spiritual thing. I've been grateful for it. It played a role because I was praying for bigger things, bigger opportunities. You put in the responsibility of leading people into a place where their prayers get answered. Gratitude has been shown and allowing them, giving them that platform and guiding them and ushering them. So that played a role and something that I never left because I still do it. I'm still part of a worship and praise and worship team in LFCC in Rodiport. It's something that has never left. It's a passion that I always have, despite the fact that I still travel the world singing contemporary music, singing covers at times, releasing my own music. It's something that you can't take away from me because it's the reason who Ubongi is who he is. That's why my full name Ubongi Nkosi. Be grateful to God. I'm always grateful to God for everything, whether good or bad. From the bad we learn, from the good we appreciate and grow. So it's just for me. Church is in me. You can't take it out of me. You can make me sing things, but there's always a line where we're doing certain things, So it'll always be a part of me. My kids will know church. My kids will respect church. My kids will understand what church is all about, and they'll grow knowing who God is. They'll grow knowing that there's nothing possible in this world. You are nobody. You can't do anything if you aren't, if you don't know where you're coming from, and if you don't know, and if you don't believe in the Almighty God.
Very beautiful and very well said there, man. I got really excited, when Colette mentioned that it was Bongi Archi that I was going to be chatting to because, upon further investigation, obviously, as you said, it is Bongi Mthombeni. And Mthombeni is actually a clan name. My mother's surname or maiden name is Uduma, and I know that Mthombeni is one of the clan names, for her surname. So I was like, I'm speaking to family here. But when we look at the fact that, would you say there are any differences, between Bongi Archi and Bongi Mthombeni? And if there are any differences, what sort of differences are there?
No, there's no differences. The name change was all due to after traveling so much, but not locally, I mean internationally. Not to say which I wanted to lose who I am. That's why I kept Bongi. But I had to change Mthombeni to Archie to be more easy on the tongue for everybody. Because I don't only see myself in South Africa and Africa. Everyone's dream is to go and be global and touch lives everywhere around the world. So it's good to have a name that is easy on the tongue, easy to pronounce, and easy to remember. So that's what it is. So Bongi Mthombeni and Bongi Archi is the same person. It's just Bongi Archi is now introducing more original music and taking it up a notch, bringing fire to the ice.
Now that's very beautiful, and obviously when we look at the fact that the music that you make, I mean obviously you dropped the Excuse Me, which we're still going to be talking about, and just listening to the sort of sound that you've gone for, and I look at the sounds that would sort of be in line with idols and the competition and stuff. You wouldn't really say it's sort of like gospel or maybe preaches the word, although there could be elements of like love and whatnot. But would you say that there is any maybe conflict between the style of music that you wanted to go for, being a more, pop sort of commercial type sound, compared to the kind of stuff that you would have done maybe at church, that is more, religious and has a spiritual message to it? Are there any differences at all between those? And do you find that there are any clashes, if any at all?
Um, God is love, and love is God. I still do my services on Sundays. There's a difference when you start in your music, you start being very intimate in terms of using very vague language. My music never uses vague language, never uses parental guidance language. It's love. It's a beautiful thing. God is all about marriage. God is all about love. And my music is very, for people. Like now I'm busy working on my album, and my second single I'm releasing is a happy song, a song for people to be happy, feel good song. Let me say that. It's a feel good song. The song that I released, the other three songs that I'm gonna rework on that I released earlier. The one was my baby's coming home tonight, Cupid, and the other one is Come a Little Closer. It's soul music, it's all love songs, and all of them, the language is very clean, and it promotes love. So there's nothing conflicting. There's nothing that fights with it. If I was swearing and being all up in a girl's deed and stuff, or a man's deed, or take off your yeah, then it becomes a little bit, then it's controversial, because I'm still part of Joyous Celebration. I'm still part of a church to show that I still write gospel music for artists. I still write gospel music for myself. So those things are still coming. Those elements are still coming, but to show that I don't want to box myself. In the music industry, in the entertainment industry, you grow every day. So you need to expand your versatility in a good way. So my music is always clean. Even Christians listen to it because it's love. So there's nothing wrong. It's not controversial. There's no conflict. I mean, it's just pure good music.
I mean, we literally can see that, there's a lot of influence that comes, you take a lot of things that you grew up with and you implement them, within the music that you make. As you say, that love element and keeping it clean, obviously you would have, taken that from your experience within the church, within Joyous Celebration. I want to know what you sort of took with you from your lemongrass days. What is it that Bongi Archi carried with him from those lemongrass days? And are you still in touch with, lemongrass? Is lemongrass still a thing at all? Let us in on that.
No, lemongrass is a band that ended. I think it actually ended after Idols. They still the band still carried on actually, but my journey with them ended just after Idols, because then things started getting hectic. I did a few shows with them, but then our shows started conflicting. The one thing I took from, we're still friends. I still talk to them. All of my band members are doing great things individually and for themselves. So there's no conflict. There's no beef. We just love each other. We still call each other for favors or stuff like that, or help or stuff. So the one thing I took from them is knowledge, and I still use it till today.
What I really appreciate about you is that you're able to, from these different sort of, paths that you've taken in the past, you're able to get, some of that seeping through, in the person that you currently are. And one of the highlights that you mentioned was obviously reaching, Idol's top 8. Let us in on that. I mean, we had an artist recently as well, who had also been on Idols, and I asked him, I'm like, is what we end up seeing on TV, how much of that is actually real and stuff, and what actually goes on sort of, behind the scenes and stuff. Is Idols as, as it's portrayed? I mean, how was your experience, getting in there and obviously doing the auditions and all that there? Is it what you expected, before you had entered? Because you did say that you guys spoke about it and then the next day you went there. So how was your whole Idols experience?
Oh, look, it was an experience and a half, that thing. Spending the night in the rain, waiting in the queue. I think we were like number 38 or 39 no, that's too long. I think we're like number 15. They stormed in and we were pushed back to number 200 and Mangman. So patience was also tested for me there, because I was like, oh man, I kind of spent the whole night last night just to give up now when the doors are open at 8 a.m. Everyone's in the queue. It wasn't what I expected, but I had an idea that people might come in numbers, but that's why I went the night before. But I mean, when the doors opened and everything was crazy. So went there, did my audition. I changed my song. I never knew that it's a process. Idols is a process. Before you see us on camera, there's a process that is being followed. So before I got onto camera, you have to go through some judges, some preliminary rounds, and before you go into camera and people see you. So that was the challenge. And I changed my song before I went to the main panel, which is screened on TV. And they gave me a piano and audition. My foot was shaking, nervous as hell, but it never came through to my voice, which was awesome. I made it through that round, made it through to Sun City. Sun City was a nightmare, guys. I just want to tell you, it's a lot of work, less sleep. You've got little time to prep. Yeah, man. Like, people don't know this, but it's hell. And your memory is challenged. Your tolerance in terms of gig after gig is being challenged. Your teamwork, how you work with people, is challenged. Your camera work is challenged. Band, everything, technical stuff, everything that is being put to test. And it's definitely not what people think it is.
It's brilliant, getting insights, because we often, as you said, we often see, what is the final product, but it's really nice getting some insights on, someone who's been through it all. And obviously, with it being so challenging, that is something that you took with you, right? I mean, did it help you, getting to the top 8? What would you say you actually learned, about, the pressure that you are actually under? Like, has it assisted you when it comes to, Bongi Archi being the artist that he is today and handling the pressure and handling all the gigs? Was it effective?
Definitely. As I said, it's definitely, you see, with idols, it's what you take out and what you make out of it, either when you get eliminated or through those tough times when you are still preparing for the Sunday shows and everything. Like, I took a lot, man. I took a lot from that. Most of all, I took the network. I took the numbers. Especially the knowledge of what is required for you to prepare for a show. The requirements to put up your own show, the requirements you are needed when you perform. So I took all of that. How serious they take the job, how serious the production is, and I'm instilling it in my performances even today.
You've taken us on a journey already, Bongi, from where it all began, to some of the experiences, former bands, your involvements. You mentioned Joyous in there, a lot. What we need to focus on is obviously the music. You recently dropped a new single, Excuse Me, which is also accompanied by a music video as well. I like for us to break that down, because when I listen to the song, I mean, obviously love being one of the words that you also mentioned as well, very much present in there. I just want to know who the special person is that you mentioned there, that she's on some head over heels type vibe, and you're seeing this person and you want to get to know them. Wedding bells, you start thinking about wedding bells all of a sudden. I want to know what the conclusion to that was. If this was inspired by a certain someone, you don't have to mention who it was, but did you end up with this certain someone? What was the outcome of this all?
Yeah, this song I wrote a while back, and we only released it now because my directors and my producer, Howie Combrink and Neil Engel, who goes by Mika now, we sat down, we're having a certain listening session, and they chose the song. So to answer your question, I wrote it a while back, and yes, I ended up with a special someone, because when you're friend zoned, it's the most saddest thing in the world when you see something special in a lady, but all she sees, it's fine, I can see, but we're good as friends. But then, because I'm persistent. I'm one guy who never gives up. I want what I want when I want it, because I know it's worth fighting for.
How did you guys actually decide on this particular song? Because you said that you sat down with the producers and you're going through, the songs. Why this one specifically?
I think it's the way it was written, and it's a different sound that we were going for. I think, as well as, it's something different from my side. But there are songs that are still coming, but this song particularly, it was a teaser and a taster and a welcome Bongi Archi kind of experiment for us. And they liked it. They said it was doable. It was possible to work with the song. It didn't need a lot to be done to the song. And it was something that they could relate to at that time. And they were like, you know what, let's release this song for now. It's not a big song, it's not a small song, it's a good song. And that's what we went with. I was like, okay, let's do this. And that's why we dropped this particular song to leave space for more things that are coming.
I gotta give you props, you together with your team, because you guys have really nailed down this international sound. Like, when I think, pop music, I don't automatically think of like, any South African artists, but then when I listen to just off listening to it, it fits right in with all the songs on, that are topping the charts and whatnot. You guys really nailed that down. Who would you sort of say is sort of responsible for the sound direction that you guys went for? Obviously, you're on the vocals. Who did the production and whatnot within your team and sort of was like, this is the sound we need to try and go for?
Oh no, it was newcomer who played the kit. He mixed the track and he mastered it, and also shot the music video and edited the music video as well. And then Neil was in charge of the arrangement. He's behind of all the international stuff. He's the one that arranged the song. So both of them, with me obviously present there, we all sat and I sat back and I watched them, and they just played around with sounds. They changed this and that. They edited this. And so, yeah, all props to them. I'm not even going to take anything from them. All props was given to them. Obviously, I had my little 2 cents there and there, but because they work in a studio, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. Yeah.
Even with the music video, I mean, the quality is phenomenal. Are there any sort of names that Neil was throwing around when it comes to, creating the music video? And when I mention names, I mean sort of like, are there any artists that he was like, okay, this is sort of what we're trying to go for. This is the vibe. This is the influence you're trying to, are there any specific artists that you would say maybe you draw inspiration from, or maybe, have certain influences or that influence you and your vision and the sound that you're sort of going for?
So the artists I'm going to mention now, I take everything from them and put it together, from as back as Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Teddy Pendergrass, Michael Jackson. Obviously, he stays disciplined, and then all the way going through from that to your current artists, our John Legend, our Bruno Mars. Those are the people that I look at their craft and how they write and how they put the stuff together. And then I try take a bit of something from them and put it in my jar, and then add my kind of way that I've always seen myself to be a performer. And then a fudua, mix that, shake that together, and then try and come up with a new sound that comes from Africa, but then is also worldwide.
Man, as I said, you really have nailed it. All those artists that you're mentioning, I mean, the quality of your music video, the audio quality, your vocals, you fit right in like seamlessly as well. So I gotta give you props and the team props as well. In terms of what's coming up now, we're almost at the end. You name dropped a couple of songs that are going to be, a follow up to Excuse Me, and you also mentioned, an album that may be on the way. So, give us some insights on that in terms of maybe how long we'll have to sort of, wait for those releases to come through. Perhaps what is next after Excuse Me? What is the first, that's sort of in line? Is it another single? Is it the album? Let us in on what's coming up for you in this year.
Look, we're gonna add another 2 or 3 singles before we drop the full album, just to keep the momentum going, just to fill the gaps, fill the space, especially for me to just get out there, because by the time the album drops, I need you need people to be able to relate to some of the music on your album. You don't want to just go. They always say go big or go home, but you can't go big blindfoldedly or blindsighted. You need to have a vision. You need to have a plan, and that's why I've got this awesome team that actually one of them is Colette. She's also part of the team. We have a plan that we're building this baby up together with the production team, the stylist, and everyone. And then we know where we're going. We've put this vision, and then that's why we're going to start with a single. Maybe next time it'll be an EP, and then boom, the album will come. But that'll happen gradually. Not that another single's going to come next year. No, probably another 2 singles this year, or 3, or an EP. And then depending on that, the album will soon be here, because we are working on that. We are putting that together, and hopefully it'll be ready soon. You guys need to just stay tuned in and just keep an eye and ear out for Bongi Archi.
What sort of advice would you give someone who's listening to Bongi Archi right now and is like, listen, I want to be where Bongi Archi is?
Sure. Patience and persistency. When I say patient, you gotta wait your turn. You gotta wait for right timing. Because I mean, for me to be here, there was a lot of groveling in the dirt. There was a lot of being lied to. There was a lot of being misled. There was a lot of being let down. There was a lot of things, and I took that in for what it is because I know out of that I'm who I am today. You choose your agencies very carefully because they're also out to work and make a dollar for themselves. You choose your clients very carefully because they can make and break your career and treat you as a nobody. Your friends and family, those people are the most important people. Your family needs to support you, and you gotta make sure that they believe in you. Not always, it's not always like that. Your friends might be just in for the ride to steal the riches and steal and steal what you worked so hard for. They can build you or they can break you. So it's all of that. Planning is very important. Having a storyboard, a board where you draw all your plans, where you want to be, where you want to setting goals for yourself. You see, setting goals is another important thing. And then importantly, wait for the right team. You need to have the right team. That's why Bongi is now taking a leap. Before I was taking little steps. Now I'm taking a leap because I've got the right team. So that's how it works. Just be patient and be persistent and all the above that I just mentioned. Then you'll be all right. You'll be all right. If you don't have those things, then you better find another career because this industry is a cutthroat industry. Sometimes you do jobs, you need to be careful. Sometimes you do a job for free, but then out of that free job, you gain network, you gain follows. Sometimes you do gigs for a lot of money. And you find that you only sang 2 songs, but these are the kind of things you need to manage so don't get too excited. And you go far, you go further, and your time is coming.
Bongi, I could not have said it any better. I'd like to thank you for that advice. And I really hope that anyone who's listening to this and is aspiring, to be in the position that you are, really listens to your advice and takes it and implements it because, judging from where you are, it's clearly working. So I'd like to just thank you as well for joining me and, taking time to join me on this interview and sort of, teach me more about who you are and the music and where it all started and taking us on a journey. I really appreciate it. For anyone who wants to reach out to you, Bongi, social media handles and whatnot, where do we sort of go for all those?
Oh, well, they can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Same, it's Bongi Archi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So just type in Bongi Archi, you'll see me. My CD cover, my CD sleeve is my profile picture, and that's me. Just press follow, press like, and let's enjoy and let's indulge in this journey together.
That is very awesome. I'd also like to just thank Colette Dawson as well for arranging this interview, and I think there's no better way for us to close off than by playing off with "Excuse Me," because that is the single, one of the hottest right now. So I'm super excited. If you're listening to this, please also check out the music video. It's incredible. Like, don't take my word for it. Head out to YouTube and check that out. And as for Sludge Underground as well, we are at Sludge Underground on social media, and you can also visit our website at www.sludgeunderground.com to find everything. All our episodes are in there. And it's been an episode with the Bongi Archi. I'd like to thank you once again, brother, for joining me. Highly appreciate it. And until next time, guys, we're going to be closing out with "Excuse Me." It is bye for now.
Have you seen the smile on her face? Have you seen her grin? Have you seen her skin? Everything she said is hard not to erase. Yeah. I just wanna walk to her and ask her if we could. So excuse me, may we be friends for this moment? I don't want it to end. 'Cause deep inside I know I'm falling in love. Yeah. So excuse me, may I be your friend? Have you heard her laugh? Have you heard her sing? All day in my head, all I hear is wedding bells ring. She's always happy, you can see it in her eyes. I just wanna walk to her and ask her if we could.